the fundamental came without a warning. Risked it all for nothing. Broke down all my walls. Said you're going all in. Tell me why. Try to fight against all odds. Chasing time to try to get back what we lost. What if the world wasn't cold? If our story wasn't told, would you wait for me, my love? What if a whole made of cards didn't have to fall apart? Would you stay with me, my love? What if the world wasn't cold? If our story wasn't told, would you wait for me, my love? Stay with me, my love, my love, my love. Stay with me, my love. Stay with me, my love, my love, my love. Stay with me, my love, my love. Wrapped in sugar coating, place it in your hand. Let you have your moment.
There we go. Fucking thing. Oh, what a penis. Gonna have to get more of these set up, more of these visuals set up. Sit there and record some more fishy fish. Pablo. Why ain't the dog fuckers that in there? Going through my YouTube videos as some sort of how to play with Dogecoin or some shit, which is whack. Alright, let's go through some videos. I guess we'll watch some videos while we're here. What do we got? Some Michael's Fish Room, eh? I think I watched his unboxing yesterday. What else we got? Fanatic. He's always doing something weird. KG Aquatics, let's go there. What they got going on?
You know something interesting?
Let's watch that, eh? Now I gotta figure out how to put this onto there. If I remember correctly, do that. Browser source. Fish are fucking doing some weird shit. Screen capture. No. Window capture. Let's do that one. There you go. Looks a bit better, doesn't it? Put that there. Put that button.
As fish keepers, we spend a ton of money on a glass box, and then we spend a ridiculous amount of money to get the best heater, the best filter, the best lights, lids. Then we go and we spend a bunch of money on substrate and plants, and we get this thing looking absolutely incredible. We're so happy with it, and then we realize, oh crap, we've spent all the money. There's no more money left for fish. So what do? Do we just wait, save our money, and get the fish later? Or are we people that are not patient enough to do that, and we want fish right now? So we have to buy fish that are inexpensive and very budget friendly. Well, that, my friends, is what this video is for. We're gonna show you a whole assortment of fish that are what we consider to be the best fish to buy if you're on a budget. Think about this for a second. If I was to tell you you could go to the fish store, buy an absolutely incredible fish with a great personality, you only spend about 10 cents a piece for these fish, and you have the bonus of knowing that you are saving those fish from a certain death. Would that be something that would pique your interest? Well, what I just described is feeder goldfish. Yes, those feeder goldfish. The ones
They
whose
grow like
sole
this big
purpose
by the
is to
time they're
feed
done
some
with them.
loser's jaguar cichlid. Look at them. Look how nice they are. Look how colorful and active they are. I don't remember the last time I checked the price of feeder goldfish, but they've always been around 10 to 15 cents each. So just think about it. You get 10 of these gorgeous
10 to 15 cents each. Holy shit. In Australia, they're like $4 each, maybe more. That's ridiculous.
fish, and you're only out $1 or $1.50. Now it has to be said that you're not going to want to get these fish if you're setting up a 20-gallon aquarium. And that's why this fits this conversation even more, because if you've set up the appropriate size tank for them, which would be like 150-gallon, let's say, because these fish can get absolutely massive, you have spent a fortune on getting that tank set up. So it's a very good chance you ain't gonna have a whole lot of money left for fish. Goldfish are easy to keep, easy to feed, won't bother any other fish once you can afford to get them tank mates, and they behave like little water
eggs.
puppies.
Was that eggs
What
or?
more do you want? Plus, like
They
I
look like
said, you have
eggs.
the satisfaction of knowing these fish were destined to be food and you saved them. How many stories do you see online of people rescuing betas from the store or rescuing a fish that was looking sad at the store? This situation is a real rescue. I know I go a little overboard with my love of feeder fish, but I have 30 or 31 of these fish right now in my collection, and they've become some of my absolute favorites. 24 or 25 of them actually escaped death twice. They started out as feeder fish. They were put in a pond. That pond then was unfortunately abandoned, and I rescued them a second time from there and put them into my pond, where they are now thriving and just absolutely.
I wouldn't mind a pond like that. That'd be amazing.
It's a special thing when you can save these fish from being in the belly of some big ugly cichlid.
Guppies are great for someone setting up a tank on a budget, but not for the reasons you think. Yeah, they're gorgeous fish and they're cheap, but there's another angle. The angle is this. You can buy a trio of guppies at anywhere from $4 to $8 a piece, but it's not going to stay this way for long because, well, have you ever heard the expression, they breed like rabbits? We've all heard that, right?
$1,000 fish.
Well, that
or
expression is wrong. It
something.
should be,
Fuck
they
if I
breed
remember what it
like
was.
Guppies. I've talked about this in previous videos, but I'm going to talk about it again because it goes along with the topic perfectly. Last summer, I got 2 female guppies from Diana Walstead, and these girls were nice and fat. Before you knew it, they started popping out babies, then popped out some more, then their babies grew up and started having babies of their own, and in what felt like no time at all, I was completely overrun with these fish. I swear, I've got like 1,000 million zillion of them. Now, not every guppy tank is going to be like that, but if you get a male and 2 females, they're going to breed.
I'm going to look into getting some more guppies going forward. I think I'm going to spend like $300 getting some new guppies in.
Breed, and before you know it, those 3 fish you bought for maybe $20 are now $40. How's that for cheap? And to take it a step further, you might even be able to sell the babies of those 3 fish. You could make a few dollars to help you out in the hobby. So there's no better example of a budget fish than guppies.
I hate these fish. I really do.
When I put
This is a
together this
particular
list of
fish I don't like.
Showed it to Lisa for the first time. She said, "Neon tetras? What?" And I had to remind her of all the times we've been to big box pet stores that have been selling them on sale for $1 a piece. In fact, this was happening so often back in the day, way back in the day, that we just called them $1 fish because they seemed like they were always on sale. Sure, it's possible that it was just my area, but I saw this in quite a few stores. I don't know. Maybe the farms were completely overrun with them back then. But whether they're on sale or not, this is usually a fish that's no more than $3 a piece. So even at full price, you're still getting a bargain on some really cute, super active fish that can fit in pretty much any size aquarium. I think every fish keeper at some point in their fish keeping journey has had neon tetras. If you haven't,
I don't think I've ever had
you're missing
neon
out,
tetras, but I
because these
definitely
are
have
some
had
absolutely
tetras of some
adorable,
sort.
cute little super cheap fish. So give them a try.
White clouds are definitely one
Never had
of those
those.
fish on the list that are indestructible.
Never had those.
They're super cute and they're just adorable little fish. And to make it even better, you can get them for like $2. I've kept white cloud minnows in everything from 125-gallon with comic goldfish to 100-gallon tubs outdoors, and they've not only done well, but they've also multiplied. When I had them in the tub outdoors,
I'm pretty sure
all I
they're
had
egg
on it
layers,
was
those
a
fish.
stupid little fountain that ran off solar power, and they didn't care. In fact, they loved it. Now, some people might get mad at me for saying this, but white cloud minnows aren't exactly the most gorgeous fish on this list, but you know what? I think they're kind of cute. They're just plain, and that's okay. They're cheap.
Platies, a fish that veteran fish keepers are going to poo-poo, saying, oh, those are just for beginners. But I got to tell you, this fish is available in more varieties than any other fish we've talked about today. Okay, yeah, there's tons of different types of guppies.
Like balloon platies and shit like that are coming out. Like they're just, like, you know, live bearers with scoliosis pretty much. I haven't bred these. I think I've bred a specific line of platies back in the day, but I haven't bred them since. So it's been a while since I've played with mollies or platies or anything like that.
Too, but a lot of times when we get into those really fancy exotic guppies, you're going to be spending big time money on those fish. Platies? No. You want Mickey Mouse platies? $3 a piece. Fancy blue platies? $3 a piece. The nice pretty yellow ones? $3 a piece. You get it. There's another thing too. Remember what Lisa said about guppies and how they'll easily multiply and your 3 fish turned into tons and tons of free fish? Well, platies are the same way, but again, you'll pay way less for them to get you started. You start off with 5 of these that you paid a total of $15 for, and before you know it, you got a couple dozen in there, and they'll all be different colors of the rainbow, or even have little Mickey Mouse ears on their anal fin. There's another thing to think about here too, and that's the fun you'll have breeding these fish, because you literally don't have to do anything. Just put them in the water, and they're going to start pooping out babies. It's like magic.
You say that.
Plus, they're a really hardy fish too, so
You
if
say that, but like some of my guppies aren't doing shit. So I have to, I think it's because I have no plants in the tanks, so they have no hiding spots.
you're just getting started in this hobby, they're going to be able to tolerate a lot of the mistakes that new fish keepers get. So you're going to have so much fun. You're going to feel like a pro because these fish are breeding like crazy. They're absolutely gorgeous, and you haven't spent much money.
Cherry shrimp, yeah, easy.
I'm just going to start this one off by saying that I know shrimp are not fish. I remember when John and I were walking around the aquatic experience with Chris Lukup, and he was showing us all these shrimp. He was like, that one is $2,000, that one is $5,000, and they were gorgeous, gorgeous shrimp, but these are not the ones we're talking about.
Like, no, these are like, everyone is like, they have been like 5,000-6,000, so I don't know what price he makes here, but one of it, I know that Skyfish sold them for $5,000 to $6,000 each. No, it was euros, so it's even more in dollars.
No, for this video, we'll be talking about shrimp that are great for fish keepers that are new to shrimp, like cherry shrimp and blue dreams, two of my personal favorites. I can remember when I used to think, what's the big deal with shrimp? Everyone talks about them like they're the best thing ever.
Good
I don't
cleanup
get it.
crew.
Well, believe me, I get it now. I've gone shrimp crazy. When I set up this bowl with Diana Wallstead, I needed something to put in it, so I went to thegardenofeater.com and ordered some blue dreams, and I went to flipaquatics.com to get some cherries. I could have gotten both from either one of the sites, but we're friends with both of them and I wanted to spread the love around. And before you ask, No, they did not give me the shrimp for free or anything like that just because we're friends. I secretly went in, I ordered, and they sent them to me. I put the Blue Dreams in Diana's bowl and spread the cherry shrimp out in 4 to 5 tanks, including John's Izzy tank. I put 6 cherries in his tank, and look at them now. They're everywhere. These are absolutely fascinating little creatures, and it's so cute to watch them with their little legs and doing their thing and eating all the stuff in the tank. It's just adorable. And they don't cost a fortune. I got mine for like $3 or $4 a piece, and yeah, that might...
Most stores nowadays are selling what cherries for like $3, especially red cherries. I saw mine for like $1, if not less. Especially like coals and stuff like that. I can pull coals out like nothing else when I go through my tanks. But the higher grade you go, the more they cost, obviously. I think even orange and sun-kissed Blue Dreams are like $3, $4 to $7 depending on. And then obviously you got black and a few different colors like that. So it really depends on what you go for, what costs more and what costs less.
Not be the most cheapest thing on this list, but you know, the cherries are breeding like crazy, and now the Blue Dreams are also breeding. So I feel like I got my money back plus a whole lot more.
I feel like every fish list we do, I'm talking about Danios. Am I becoming a Danio guy? Okay, maybe I am. And you know what? I'm okay with that.
I don't know about Danios,
are
though.
one of the most fascinating fish in the hobby.
I don't mind the giant ones. The giant ones, like these ones are the bigger ones. I think they last longer. But I've never really... What's the word for it? I've had enough that survived long enough, I guess.
Specifically about zebra Danios, because you can find these pretty much anywhere for under $3.
These are long fin Danios.
I've said it a million times, but I'm going to say it again. Danios are just fun. They're completely hyperactive little fish.
Yeah, the bigger ones,
stop moving.
the giant ones, I think they're called the giant
or the lights are
Danios.
at full brightness. These fish never rest. I honestly think it's what makes me love them so
normal
much. 'Cause
ones.
think about it. Danios are nice looking fish, but they're certainly not in the conversation of the most beautiful fish in the hobby.
Nope.
Wait a minute. Did I just come up with a future video topic? Okay, here's what I want you to do. Go down in the comment section below, type out your list of the fish that you think are the most beautiful fish in the hobby. If I get a good enough response to this, maybe I'll do a video about it. And don't worry, if I use
Guppies,
your
platies, mollies, discus.
I'll make sure I credit you in the video.
Zebra plecos.
Anyway, zebra Danios are really cool, really fast, really easy to keep fish that are also really cheap. If you want a tank that's an instant cure for boredom, fill it full of cheap Danios, and you'll be all set. So there you go. Did you like our list of fish that are budget friendly and you want to see 3 more budget friendly fish? Well, click the join button down below, become a channel member, and every single Sunday you're going to get bonus items from our Sunday videos. And hey, listen.
Of our Sunday videos. Keep the peace. Fishing. What else we got? RLC Aquatics. Golden Rams are breeding. Blake's Aquatics. What has he got going on? The aquarium guy. Those tetras. Okay, let's check this one out.
G'day legends, Blake here with another video, and today I want to talk about ember tetras, which are a fantastic fish which really accentuate a planted tank nicely. So let's jump straight into the video. I've kept ember tetras for quite a while now, and I just haven't had the chance to speak about them yet, but I was just doing some work here in the fish room, and I saw them, and I figured, why not do a bit of a care guide today? Okay, so here's my little tank of ember tetras. There's about 15 or 20 in there, which is quite a lot for this 20-litre aquarium. This is just a temporary spot for them because I put something else in their aquarium. So they're just up here where I can keep an eye on them for now. And I'll eventually move them back into a 15-gallon or 60-litre aquarium, 2-foot/60 centimetre width tank, which I think is great for a group of 10 to 20 of these guys.
Look, that's not a bad system to drain your tanks. Just looking at this, just irrigation line, and you'll turn that tank. Obviously, that'll be full. as soon as he turns it on, it will just suck straight out. So that's actually not too bad. I actually like that. Actually like that a lot.
As you can see, they have brilliant orange coloration and they sort of form a loose shell. They're not one of the best schooling.
Again, he's got bare bottom tank, which I'm trying to go after the last video. I might try with some of my tanks. I'll be getting a new tank in soon, a new 4-foot tank, so that will go straight to bare bottom. But yeah, I like the, I don't know, I just think I should be going towards bare bottom. And I just notice that all of these tanks don't have internal filters.
Fish harding thing, but sometimes I think that's good because when you have a bright green planted aquarium with all these little flickers of orange meandering around the plant life,
I'm pretty sure that there is guppy grass by the looks of it.
I think that works
I could
out
be
really
wrong.
nicely.
Could be wrong.
Embotetras inhabit a river basin in Brazil where they're from slow-moving waters. So I find as well, I like to put a bit of leaf litter in there, and I like it just a sponge filter because they don't like that much flow and they kind of get blustered around. They'll also enjoy some tannins and that black water effect, and really that'll show some nice orangey copper tones out of them as well if it is a little bit darker. They don't necessarily love super bright lights and all that sort of stuff. Being a small fish, you know, they're used to being predated upon, so they like to feel safe with some more dim lights. In terms of what to keep them in, about 72 to 82 Fahrenheit, 22 to 28 Celsius, and a pH of neutral, so about 5.5 to 7 is a good range for these guys. Another really cool point about Embotetras is that they're really easy to feed. They'll readily take flakes, pellets, brine shrimp, blackworms, anything like that. Basically, you could take your pick of most things at the local fish store and they'll probably help you to finish that off. Another really cool aspect of Embotetras is that it's quite possible for them to naturally have fry within your aquarium. They're not as voracious to hunting down their eggs as other fish, especially other tetras are. So if you have a densely planted aquarium, they're likely to scatter their eggs, kind of forget about them, maybe eat a few of them, but in no time you'll have some newborn Embotetras just surprising you one day. If you do have more of a bare bones setup like the one that I've been showing you here, that's more unlikely obviously because there's just less places for the eggs to be hidden, be concealed. So do consider that, and if you do want to collect your eggs in more of a bare bones setup, something like my egg collector can work, or you can use a container with some marbles and moss, or you can even try a spawning mop. But they're going to just be an egg scatterer, so any of the egg scattering fish techniques will work perfectly fine for these guys, and you'll find that they'll scatter their eggs in the early morning. So if you want to adjust your lights to come on when you're home so that you're able to be a bit more active in that process, then that might be a good idea. Embotetras are a nice peaceful fish, and there's heaps of great tank mate options for them if you want to set up a little bit of a nano community tank. Something like a pygmy cory would work fantastic, or just regular cories if your tank is a little bit larger. Garden eye killifish would be a good option for the top of the aquarium. You could also try hatchet fish if you like. There's really lots of options. Just make sure that whatever you do keep them with is not going to have a mouth bigger than about half the size of the tetra, because without a doubt they'll be heading into that mouth and being quickly devoured. You'll find your numbers dwindle. So that's really the only consideration that you need. They're not a fin nipper, they're not aggressive or anything like that. Just make sure that you're not keeping too many.
One thing I'm starting to realize is maybe that, because I've got internal filters in most of my tanks, maybe that's the reason why I'm having issues with my guppies.
Mid water column dwellers together with these guys, which is what they are. So fill out the top and bottom of the aquarium first, I'd suggest. So there you go guys, that is my Embotetra care guide. A nice group of 6
Embotetra care guide. When and how to do water changes. Na, 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 na. whole bunch of stuff. Whole bunch of stuff. Da, 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 da. Go back to this one. Have a look. Because he breeds guppies like nothing else. Here, so look at this.
And then I'll today that weren't drilled. One of them broke when I drilled it.
He lives 20 liter tanks with a sponge filter, if I'm pretty sure, for most of them.
Outside, when we moved, we left them outside, and then, you know, I had that heart attack. So, yeah.
And I think it's just got air sponge filters in there, and that's all you run with. So maybe I have to look into that. Maybe I'd be removing some of the internal filters from some, or moving it down to the bottom, because let me have a fucking look at this quickly. Look this up.
Hey there guys, it's Chris hanging out again tonight. I just got messaged a great question. What is the best filter for guppy fish in your aquarium? So guppy fish are super popular, and the reason is because they're awesome. First of all, they're really easy to breed, they're really easy to keep, and it's like the ultimate best beginner fish, I feel like, for an aquarist. And you don't even have to be a beginner to keep these fish. But anyways guys, let me show you some of these tanks. We got tons of guppies in the house. We are doing some construction right now though. Here, let me get a better view here.
Look at all those tanks, damn.
We have this weird shelf right here right now. But let me flip the cam here. So the house is literally littered full of guppies, and we have done tons of different
Just sponge filters, no internal filters.
And the filter that we keep in every single guppy fish tank is a sponge filter. And I'm very passionate about this. And the best filter for a guppy fish tank is a sponge filter. You know, you could obviously use a hang on the back filter. These are beautiful guppies in here, right guys? I think these are just some mud guppies. Where are some purebred? Here's some purebred. Right here. We have different lines of guppies that we're
Could look at doing that, I guess. Just
and
removing the
reason
internal
sponge
filters.
filter works the best for guppy fish tanks is because guppy fish tanks are usually pretty small, and that's what makes this a great fish to keep, because a lot of people keep these in 5-gallon tanks. This is a 5-gallon aquarium right here. I think this is like a PetSmart.
The only thing I'd be worried about is stagnant
and there's
water.
different types of sponge filters. My favorite sponge filter is this one. It's called the double or dual sponge filter. And I'll throw a link in the description box to an Amazon product link. We use them in pretty much every aquarium. You can see here, there's just different sizes of them. And then you also have the different style. Doesn't this shelf look amazing, guys? But you also have the other style of sponge filter, just the generic big huge sponge filter. And the green ones are the aquarium co-op series. I want to show off some house plants. Look at that rack, guys. Isn't that just beautiful? So the reason we're doing construction here, guppies in here. We are keeping these guppies with platies sorts. Yes. Back like this. Let me take
They just see tanks without internal filters. That's actually a good point. They're cool. I like them. Chameleon flickers. I'm thinking they're chameleon whiptails.
Produced by Malik.
What's going on, world? Welcome back to Aqua Malik. Happy Vlogmas, everyone. I'm doing a video every single day for you guys in a vlog style. So today's video is going to be about flow. How much flow does your tank need? If you haven't checked out yesterday's video, I put a video about this exact tank where the filters had clogged up and there was no flow going into the tank. There's a lot of responses and I went through the whole list and I responded to everybody. And I just wanted to quickly say, there's no exact number to say this is how much flow a tank should have. In a river, there's a lot of current and water is constantly flowing through. Plecos live in a river environment, so it's best to have a decent amount of flow in your pleco tank. I did not tell you guys yesterday on the video not to have flow. What I was just saying is that the animals still do good even in a condition where it's just sponge filters. In this tank, when these two clogged up and the sponge filter was not working, or the matin filter was not working properly because the water level was below it, these plants was taking out all the carbon dioxide and the oxygen saturation was high enough, so the fish were not having any hard time. The nitrates in here are quite low actually, and when I checked yesterday night, it was about 20 parts per million. So I did a water change today now. I did like about 75% water change, and the nitrates in here are like negligible, right? And the filters are back on and there's a decent amount of flow going into the tank now. And the fish were spawning yesterday, they were trapping, and there's no trappings happening right now because I kind of disturbed them. But the reality of it is that to the fish, as long as there's a high saturation of oxygen, it doesn't seem to matter how much flow is in the tank. What really seems to matter is how much oxygen is saturated into the water, simply because at this temperature, this tank's at about 82, 83 degrees Fahrenheit right now. It's about 82.5, which is the highest limit for the L134 Pecultius. And at that temperature, the oxygen saturation is quite low. So you have to increase the oxygen saturation by adding a lot more oxygen into the water and by water movement and surface agitation. As long as you're doing those things, the current itself doesn't seem to matter to the fish, because I've seen breeder tanks where they only have sponge filters. There's no real current produced by the sponge filter except a spiraling motion. So the water does move quite a bit with the sponge filter, but nothing like a pump or power head. In my experience, what I have been taught by many breeders as well as since childhood is what the amount of flow a tank should have for river fish is about 4 to 5 times the volume of the tank. What that means is if this tank is, let's say, 200 liters or 40 gallons, let's say 200 liters, you want to have the tank turn around at least 4 to 5 times within an hour. So you need a pump that is at least 800 liters per hour or 160 gallons per hour. Okay? So a 40 gallon tank requires a pump that turns that 40 gallons into around at least 4 times, if not 5 times. Okay? So that's what is recommended. At that
that's a mix of tank whiptails, leopard frogs, and zebras.
Maintain a stable body, and they will just get bounced around the tank and eventually get sucked into the filter or power head. So that's a real concern to have when you do have other fish, like the small tetras I have in my other tank. Put some B-roll footage so you guys can see them. But essentially, these animals cannot handle high current. So over a long period at least, if it's for like an hour or 2, it's fine. But for weeks and months and stuff, they will get worn out eventually and they will get sucked into the filter or the power head and they will die. So you have to make a compromise at that point. If you are going to have small dither fish and stuff in there, you have to also make sure that the current is not too strong for those animals.
That makes sense.
So about 4 to 5 times is good for most dither fishes, but then some, like angelfish for example, might not be okay with that. So if you're going to have angelfish in your pleco tank, you might want to reduce your current, increase the oxygen by adding some more air stones. These are like basic things I think each person has to figure out based on their own circumstance. But the reality of it is, for breeding them, I've seen in so many different cases where the breeders only have 2 sponge filters or HMF you know, something like that. They don't usually have. I'm one of the only breeders that probably actually does have power heads in my breeding tanks, like you know, in terms of commercially trying to breed fish or whatever.
My zebras are still fucking
But
tiny
if
compared
it
to your
was like
stem.
like a real commercial operation, like when I move into the new facility, for example, I would not have power heads in any of my tanks because those things get clogged up. There's more maintenance. HMFs all around. You know what I mean? And there might be one tank that I might have to use a power head, like the Pseudohemidon apetanos tank, because they are really a river-dwelling fish and they require the current to flow through their face. And I do have a 160-gallon pump in their tank. It's a 35-gallon tank, so it's about 4 to 5 times. Anything more, I don't think is required. I mean, you can literally put as much current as you want. You can put a wave maker in there that pumps 8,000 gallons an hour, and your fish will be bouncing up and down. And I don't know if the fish would be really happy in that situation or not. You know, so all these things might be a factor. I'm not saying that's the reality of the animal, because these animals do come from a river environment, but I mean, there are times when the river is not flowing as fast. There's times when the
Worth a try, I guess.
Animals have the ability to breathe air. Why is that? Because there's times when the river is not flowing at all, or they get stuck in tidal, small lakes that are made or left over when the river dries out, or small bodies of water, and they just have to go up to the surface like every other animal and breathe surface air. So they can do that. Like my para-ancestors auranticus can breathe surface air if it comes down to it. But I mean, I've never seen them do that because their tank is well planted. It has underground filters. It has a lot of oxygen flowing through. It doesn't have any flow, but it has a lot of oxygen. So, and I have 6 of them. I lost one. Actually, I forgot to mention that in the last few days I did lose a para-ancestors auranticus.
Oh, bugger.
A little, like 4-inch fish. It smells so bad in here. Actually, I'm drying him up to donate to the science museum. But the reality is, the rest of them are doing good, and it was a breeding accident. I believe it's a female, or it's a subdominant male. I had 7 fish, and this was one of the smaller fish. There's like bigger ones that are holding down caves, so I guess something happened. They tried to breed with it. It's, you know, it's their season right now too, because a few other people that I know that have them are already getting fry and eggs right now. So like, I don't know whether it's because we're in the northern hemisphere, or whether it's because of the shorter days cycle, or whether something else is a factor, whether the increased amount of storms and winter storms and blizzards and low pressure systems might be affecting that. So all these things could be a factor, you know. So I don't want to bramble on too much about this, but I just want to say in conclusion, just keep your tank flowing so there's no debris accumulating. That's the bottom line. If you can actually achieve a level of cleanliness on your gravel bed or your sand bed where there's no debris accumulating and all the debris is getting pushed into your actual filter, then that's all that really matters. You know, as long as you can achieve that, I think that's good enough. And have really high oxygen concentration.
Okay.
And if in terms of number, it would be about 4 times the volume of the tank. So, you know, anything above 4 to 5 is good, but anything beyond 5, 6, I would say that's also maybe too much. So you just have to figure that out and measure your tank volume, or most people would know that. You know, they would know whether it's a 40-gallon or, you know, 200 liters or whatever. So just get a pump that is 4 times as much as the tank, or about 5 times in the higher end. So that's it. And also it's the Christmas season, so I believe much.
Well, there you go. That's actually a good thing to have a good old gander at, is maybe taking out the internal filters. I've always had internal filters inside my tanks just for cleanliness, but now that I'm thinking about it, maybe I just need to trial it out with no internal filters, because the maintenance is a pain in the ass. It really is. So yeah, might have a good old try at that, eh? But yeah, so I think I'm going to leave that there. We've been on live for about 15 minutes. No one's really had any questions on it, but we might look at making this more of a weekly thing where I get on and say hello and stuff. So I look forward to that going forward. But yeah, enjoy. I'll see you guys later. Later.